specifically for Kellogg or one particular advertiser, but be open to, oh, I never really thought about that. Everybody thinks their baby is beautiful, but we've got some ugly babies, but you need to understand, and you should be offended by that. It's like, we're here to work and to make things better and stronger. And what I'm kind of growing weary of hearing the conversations and the complaint, like, oh, we got to do this viewability thing. Well, TV isn't viewable. It's like, no. Digital's held to a different standard because we have the tools. There are pros and cons to digital. We're blessed and we're cursed because we have all this data. But we should be held to a different standard. But we should be smarter. We should be better than that. And I think we can do that. And I think tech is a part of it. But I think, again, it's the people that are driving those insights with whatever you do that make the difference.
Right, and I think insights is something you've hit on a couple of times. Insights into not just kind of where they think you might want to go based on what they've heard, but also other things that are going on, new things you want to take advantage of,
sure.
Et cetera.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the insights are leading to other developments, pre-bid solutions, all that kind of stuff. That's fantastic, all day long. If we can verify the media that we're getting before we even buy, great. I think that warrants some amount of an increased CPM. I think there is at least a way that we can play. It's like we're applying the data, we're applying some tech, let's talk about it. But if I know my viewable CPM is better than it ever was before, great, then that's where we can talk about those opportunities.
So take that same note and then shift it to the pub side, right? In terms of your pub partners and your expectations there. So just a little bit of background. So we've done a couple of different deals where we've rotated different pieces. You guys were on originally on Right Media, right? And there were some different setup things there. You've now moved to Yahoo Ad Manager Plus. Yep. And so, in the beginning of our relationship, when we first started, we were not at your viewable benchmark, right? So we took a pause. Yep. And we went back. We actually, looked at all of the different things we could do, came back to you with a different solution, and then ultimately kind of got ourselves above, right, your first benchmark, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that made the difference. It's, you know what, we mutually agreed, let's just hold off. And I think when we talk about a private exchange and the programmatic partners, we never say, we're done, see you later, goodbye. No, it's all about, let's pause, let's figure out what's going on. Because again, partners like Meredith, and we work with a lot of other private exchanges, it's like we can't be so quick to dismiss, but let's understand that. And that's where we can get into that, well, what's the flexibility? I think you originally had that. We can be flexible on target index. Instead of 150, maybe it's 130, maybe it's 120. If it's adults, it's tough to over-index. But what are we willing to not compromise on, but what can we and how do we partner on that solution? I think that was the best thing that ever happened. I think as far as the relationship, it's mutual pause. You raised a hand, it's like, you know what? We're really excited, we value the relationship, we value you, and we don't want to take any additional money that we don't think is going to be well spent. Let's pause, come back, churn the things out, and investment follows performance. Out of the dollars, we've got partners that we're at $500 a day, and now they're upwards of $3,000 to $7,000 a day as far as our programmatic private exchange. So the investment can follow performance. It's just who's really willing to dig in and partner and understand what's going on with the media.
Sure, and obviously you want to make sure your money is well spent, especially against the key KPIs.
Yeah.
So then that says that to me says and one of the things that we were talking about. Obviously, candor between partners is critical. I think that goes along the lines with what you were talking about with tech partners, transparency, right? The candor. What are some of the other things that make a successful partnership between publisher and marketer specifically?
Low CPMs. Oh, there you go. And I'm out of here. It's all relative, though. Low CPM could be $10. I think, again, we've kind of hit on a lot of those, the transparency, the openness. But again, it's two-way dialogue. It's like, tell us we're crazy. Tell us there's no way in the world that that's possible. And anybody who says no way, I'd say, well, there's always a way.
Right.
But I would say, why is that? Why do you feel that? What is that? And I think that communication is absolutely key. And again, it's about the people. The value relationship is, give us the insight, show us the value, show us why this is so important and what it can really do. And as long as it's put in the context of what we hold to be important, then great. Then let's talk about that.
Right, and it's interesting you talk about the value factor. So one of the other things that the flexibility aspect is understanding what the most important priorities are of each partner.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's where we talk about the divergence or the convergence of what our strategies do. And then identifying those particular areas where, okay, so let's revel in the areas of convergence and figure out how to solve the areas of divergence.
And that's the biggest problem, I would imagine, is for publishers. I think it's really brands who come in who don't understand what they want or what they need You know, I think you made a comment of 110% viewability. Like, what does that even mean? You know, so I think that's where brands really need to understand.
Yes, it's true. We did have that request the other
So
day.
it's what do you hold valuable? What do you value digital media? Do you understand what it's doing for your business, and what do you need? You know, it's like, oh, I need engagements. Why? What is the value of an engagement? What is the value of a Twitter post? You may not have it, at least have a roadmap or a measurement to figure out how to get there, to answer that question. Otherwise, you're just buying stuff all day long. It's not gonna, but it's hard yards. It's a lot of work. We had a lot of people setting up a baseline of a lot of media, a lot of measurement. I think that was key, which really set the framework for why we have these KPIs. We're not asking for viewability just because we read it in an article at some point. We kind of wrote the book for ourselves internally, like, this is why viewability. Every additional 5% on viewability drives X number ROI, whatever it is. Fantastic. And that's why we hold it so dear and so true, because we've seen the difference.
Sure, that the numbers bear it out.
Absolutely.
So let's continue on the whole data aspect, but more around audience data. You guys are focused on purchase-based targeting, and that this is kind of a new role. So in your mind, where does the publisher start to play a role in that environment? I think earlier you said insights, but you know, as you start looking at it and saying, I'm going to follow the user and basically follow him to sale and make sure that I continue to drive more of those users. How do you see the relationship with the publisher evolving in that environment?
I think one aspect is the scale against the cookie. You know, we use partners like Datalogics to come in and say, okay, we're going to understand X sales, but Datalogics doesn't necessarily have Walmart and Target data, so we need to understand maybe a little bit more of the look-alike, if you will, or what have you. But when the cookies did fire, when you did see those people on your site, what can you tell us about that? You know, was it all anywhere at any given time? Was it really all about cooking or lifestyle, or you know, how to potty train your kid? I mean, whatever it is, I think that is what is really key. And so, but having that transparency, you had asked, you know, it's got to be a two-way street. What are we holding valuable, and what are we looking for from the partners? It's like, yeah, you tell us a little bit more. You know when it's firing. Here's some data. Let's figure it out. Do you need more ComScore reporting? Do you need more Moat reporting? Let's give you what you need to be a better publisher and a better partner, and then we all win.
Right.
And I think the transparency needs to go from brand as well to the publishers, but you have to trust, and I think trust is the key thing. Why are you partnering with anybody if you don't trust them from the get-go? If you don't trust that person across from you, then maybe that isn't the best place, or maybe pick a different line of business.
And that's actually also the dirty little secret that I think everyone, you know, in this room recognizes, that programmatic isn't as automated as they say, and so it takes a lot of that communication, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And part of that burden actually falls more on your tech partners and your agencies and whatnot to continue that communication and absorb that, and so the trust has to be transferred in that sense.
Absolutely. Agencies and DSPs are absolutely key for us. I mean, they're managing a lot of the conversations on a back and forth, and agency is absolutely key. I mean, we're not looking to remove the agency. Starcom is a fantastic partner of ours, and we wouldn't want to change that. I think we've really worked on roles and responsibilities and understand where strategy is and where they go, but I think that's a great partnership. The DSPs absolutely rely on, and they're perfect and imperfect all in the same breath, but that's great, but they all are willing to work. We've got some people, you know, like for example, in Yahoo, who live and breathe our business to the point of like, stop, go home. You know, I'm concerned about your mental well-being, because, you know, if you're not good, you're not gonna be great for us, but we really do ask for realistic things, and they deliver on that, and then some, so it's
Gotcha.
fantastic.
So we're almost out of time. This has been great. I have a couple word associations for you. I've added some new ones.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
Okay, let's just start easy. Programmatic.
Complicated,
Data.
necessary,
Media agency.
partner,
Viewability.
undervalued,
Efficiency.
boring,
Direct buys.
necessary.
Okay. Jim,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
very much.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it.
Cool. Okay, I think it was great. I liked him talking about humans are still needed. That was